Welcome to Here's Why. My name is Jimmy Talbert, and this is brought to you by WHYnot Results. My business partner,
Mario Lizarraga, how's everybody doing?
is here, and we want to start by kind of talking a little bit about how WHYnot Results was created and how this great business that we have now came to be. Give a little bit about your background, Mario.
Just your typical serial entrepreneur, just kind of schizophrenic with everything I'm trying to accomplish and whatnot. Very typical with all the other entrepreneurs I talk to. Very open-minded, walk around looking at all the opportunity, but in all reality, regardless of whatever widget I get into selling, which I used to sell tacos and beers, and now I'm more in the insurance space, I've always had the challenge of understanding this thing called marketing. And so even though I'm good at putting together a business, I've really failed myself and my family by not really focusing on learning more about marketing. So that kind of inspired WHYnot Results to come about, to take a little deeper dive, surround myself with guys like yourself, and which I've been extremely impressed with. And so you marketing guys are just, it's a different mindset than us entrepreneurs have, and we desperately need. So I think this is a great balance.
Well, and what's I think fascinating is the way that you and I met is you hired me to do some marketing work for your insurance business originally.
All right.
I came down to your office. We took a look at some of the tools and everything that you have available. So you were my client initially, and then later on, I actually utilized the studio here and what you have to create stuff. And so then I was your client, and now we're business partners in this amazing venture. And it's been an exciting I guess transition and evolution of both a friendship and the business itself. So
yeah, well said. I mean, it's you've definitely opened my eyes, and of course we have a lot of laughs and good times, which always helps bring a business together and have fun doing it. But I can honestly say that I think we both really love this marketing thing, and we love putting the business side together. And I'm really looking forward to doing this podcast show and helping educate and bring to light a lot of the problems that the common business guy has, right? Why can't we accomplish this? Why are we wasting so much money? Why are we wasting so much time? And how do we create all this content? And I can tell you that I've spent the last 2 years fumbling around, and now with your interjection into this business, it's brought a lot of clarity of how I was just creating boilerplate random things with no real purpose.
Right.
And so I really appreciate the fact of the clarity you've brought to me, understanding when I create content, specifically what I'm trying to do with it.
What's the goal? What's this trying to actually accomplish with what you're doing? And I think that what you just said in just creating stuff and then not being real sure what to do with it, then you don't see any results from it. And so it demotivates a lot of small businesses and entrepreneurs from continuously creating.
That's me.
And in
That's me.
today's day and age, continuous content creation and release is absolutely critical to your bottom line.
And I would argue that's the hardest thing for me because I have such little time. So the thought of continually making digital content online, it drives me crazy. I mean, let's be real. I'm 45 years old. I didn't grow up with this stuff, and so for me, it's like pulling teeth. I don't mind stalking Facebook a little bit, but I'm not that perpetual poster, and that's just not me, and I don't like it. I don't like doing the whole selfie look and I hate it. So the thought of making continual content is a real challenge.
Sure. As I think it is for many. Right?
Yeah, everybody I talk to, everybody we've had through the doors here, it's a challenge. We're not the millennials. We're not the 23-year-old who just runs around making all kinds of cool pictures in front of the Lamborghini, getting on the jet and making this cute little picture with the puppy dog. I mean, it's just not what I do.
Right.
And so, understanding the mediums that we can use to still create all the content that's necessary, has been great. But even further yet, understanding what a guy like yourself, what you do with that content, understanding the difference between marketing and sales, and the different steps in the process, and understanding the kind of the scientific nature behind each little one, the deep dive on the analytics that you guys have done, the ABC testing, all these little keywords that now I understand and why they're so important, and also why it's important to pay good professionals to do what they do.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's the key. I mean, it takes a lot of time. Each step. Creating this content takes a lot of steps. But even beyond that, this thing that you call lifestyle.
Lifecycle, yeah. Come on.
Lifecycle marketing. I swear I'll get that right. Lifecycle marketing. It really made sense when you kind of walk me through it, and that's what I believe we're going to go through this our first season here. We're going to explain to people lifecycle marketing. And let's on that note, enough about us and what we do. Let's get into some real good meat that Senor Talberts can teach us.
Yeah, and just to give you a little bit about my background, I spent the last 10 years working and consulting with small businesses and entrepreneurs on sales and marketing strategy and helping them actually implement that strategy. So not only do I talk about this stuff, I've done it, I've implemented it across many, many businesses, and I'll give you some examples of that as we're walking through the season. So I hope that you enjoy it. So let's go ahead and start by diving into why some small businesses absolutely thrive, but the majority of them just struggle to just survive. And then we're going to go through how to execute on that plan. So those are the sort of three main things that we want you to take from this season is understanding why some absolutely thrive, why some struggle just to survive, and then how to actually implement these things, how to utilize the strategies that you'll learn throughout this season. So sound good?
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Fantastic. So I like to use analogies, stories, stuff like that. You'll notice that if as you watch our content. So when you think about a survivor, the ultimate survivor is not my friend Mario here. But he bears a very similar resemblance. It'd be the caveman. So the caveman, being the ultimate survivor, let's think about, and we'll compare this to the way many small businesses market, is the caveman wakes up in the morning, goes out, finds the herd of animals, and singles out the weakest in the herd, beats them with a club, and drags them back to the cave, eats fat and happy for a night, and then hopes that the herd is there again the next day. Right? Well, this is very similar to how you market. This is why you see these peaks and valleys in many businesses' revenue, is they have this spray and pray mentality of how they market things. It's and then it becomes feast or famine a lot of the time, and unfortunately, sometimes the feast does not come soon enough, and that's why many businesses fail. It's no secret that the majority of small businesses that are started absolutely never make it and never do anything. So you think about what was the most innovative thing for the caveman?
Fire, I believe.
Most people say fire, but that'd be wrong.
Wow. Of course it's wrong.
It'd be the fence. So the fence allowed the caveman to evolve from hunter-gatherer to rancher-farmer. And it was because the caveman was able to understand the life cycle of his crops, he was able to fence in animals and understand the life cycle. He could plan for the future.
That makes a lot of damn sense.
I know it does. That's why I brought it up. And so what we're going to do is we're going to walk through this, and this is something that is relevant in any business. So I don't care if you call your customers, clients, patients, students, whatever. I don't care if you're B2B, B2C, you sell online, offline. These concepts are 100% relevant and the same for any business. So as we look at this, let's look at sort of or let's talk about the sort of survival sales funnel, if you will. And let's kind of break down the different steps, because the typical sales funnel that most people have been taught, and when I say sales, I'm meaning sales and marketing, funnel that most people are taught is broken in a lot of ways. So you think about it, it starts with going out and generating interest in your business. You go and you get a few hot leads, or you get some leads from that. So you generate some interest, you get some leads, and then you sell the hot ones, right? You sigh in relief, you feel good, and then you start over. And then you start over, and hopefully whatever you did works again. Let's say you get 100 leads and you close 10 clients, right, from that. Well,
those are pretty good ratios right there. I mean,
about
in all
10%
reality, is the
conversion.
average like 3%?
Yeah, it
close,
depends on the industry.
I like your style.
Depends on the industry, the salesperson, the offering, everything like that. But yeah.
I know in the insurance space, it's typically 3%.
Okay, yeah.
On average.
Insurance, real estate, stuff like that's oftentimes a little bit lower. In other businesses, it might be higher. I know businesses that do a lot more than that. But let's say that, like I said, 10%, or fill in your percentages there on what you typically close. And so what happens when you go out and try to generate interest again is the real question comes, what happened to the other 90 people? What happened to those other 90 leads? What did you do with them? Did you follow up with them? Did you stay in front of them in one way or another? And this creates this, like I said, these peaks and valleys, because as you're going out and generating interest, as you're going out to find the herd again, you're not there to take care of what wasn't harvested initially. Make sense so far?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's three major holes in any sales funnel. Primarily, it's in lost traffic or lack of traffic, lack of exposure. It gets into lost leads, people who you're not able to capture their information, and then in lost customers, so lost sales, right? These are three major holes that every business has that you need to be able to plug. And the way to plug that is through what we're going to cover in this season as well. So why does that happen? Well, it happens because it's confusing, just like you said. You got all these different things. You got all these different things that you're supposed to do for your business. There's technology is at the forefront of it in today's day and age.
So confusing. So confusing.
And I'm sure that you've felt that at times. And that's okay to feel that.
I currently right now, I think I've got my little lists, and I think I'm up through like 100 different programs that I've tried.
That's not a joke either.
And it's not a joke at all. I mean, it's something legitimately 100 different programs, and understanding what it does, and then how it works in conjunction with other programs.
So, why do most businesses struggle just to survive? It's because of that broken sales and marketing funnel that we've all been taught. But the way that it functions and I'm talking 99.9% of small businesses, the way that it actually works or the way it's implemented is completely broken, and it doesn't work, and it makes you just kind of survive. Make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely does, and I think to add to that, not only most businesses have these broken funnels. I think we don't have a funnel in place. Period. We're kind of, speaking personally for myself, I'm kind of I didn't want to ever really spend the money. I've kind of been taken. I felt that that a lot of marketing guys were kind of shysters and kind of taking advantage of me. And
are we allowed to say shyster on this?
I don't know. I hope so. I said it, so there it is. But I kind of felt like that I was definitely getting hosed, and so consequently, what I did is I took it on myself. I was a do-it-yourselfer. I went to a couple little clinics, or I do some online webinar, seminar type stuff, and I tried to figure out. And what I really realized this whole process is that all I was doing, I've been focusing on one spoke of the marketing wheel, and maybe I'd bring in 2 or 3 spokes, not understanding that, hey, you know what? It takes 50 spokes. Whatever, 20 spokes.
Running at the same time.
In that wheel,
yeah.
In the whole wheel to make it completely turn. It's just like on a bike, I mean, if your bike wheel only has a quarter of the spokes, it breaks.
Yeah.
And mine has definitely been broken for a long time, and it's finally all coming together. But it's taken a long time to learn this myself, and so I guess anymore, what I've figured out through this process is surround yourself with the right professionals like yourself. They're very niche-y, and don't be scared to spend some money in it, because you know what, you're going to get your investment back.
Time and time again.
You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to. From a business owner, that's all I care about. I have no problem spending money on tangible assets, buildings, equipment, all these things, and like we spend big money. But all of a sudden we start looking at marketing and like, oh my God, what do you mean you want me to spend $100,000 in marketing? Well, you just spent several $100,000 buying a building, whatever, on computer software to run your business, but it's like we don't want to invest on that whole marketing process, and it is an investment, and we have to look at it that way, as an investment. You will get it back via income and also via the sale of your business. Let's be real, right? I mean, the higher sales we have, right, the more that we can sell that business for. So we get really hung up on focusing on income and not wealth and building the value of an asset. And marketing is very much growing that blue sky portion of your business. So hopefully your real estate's appreciating, and hopefully you're not depreciating the life cycle of all of your equipment, so that there's some value there to sell. But at the end of the day, people really undervalue blue sky, and they're not focusing on it. That's the difference between the little small mom and pop guys and the big corporations.
Well, that's the difference between building a brand that someone actually wants to buy, and that's marketable, and having a job, essentially. I mean, there's a lot of business owners that are just functioning like an employee almost. And you know, to your point on spending money, how much money do most businesses have no problem dropping money on leads, right? Yeah, without having true ways to convert those leads. And we'll cover that as well as we walk through things this season. So what ultimately helps small businesses, the difference in helping a small business absolutely thrive, is lifecycle marketing. So as we look over our lifecycle marketing chart here, I want you to keep two things at the top of your mind. So with your customers, obviously keep them at the forefront of your mind. And I don't care if you call your customers, clients, patients, students, they're people. Your prospects, your leads are people at the end of the day. And the other thing that I want you to keep in mind is that systems and process scales relationships. And people don't buy products and services. They don't buy widgets. They buy relationships. They buy stories. They buy narratives that make sense to them, and they consume those narratives on the mediums that they're on and that they access. In today's world, we all consume information in a different way. So let's go ahead and dive in here, and I want to walk you through the different stages here. So if we start over on the far side here, and we start with getting traffic, and that's traffic on your social media channel, that's traffic on your in your blog, on your website, that's getting people to know who you are, building that awareness. And then we get to converting leads. And so getting people to opt into your marketing, getting people who are willing to exchange some information for something of perceived value. And we'll dive in that. We're going to have an episode on each of these different stages. So then we get into nurturing prospects. This is your sales process. Whether you're talking about long-term nurture for the 90% that didn't buy right away, or we're talking about the 10% in that sales process that they're going through, so that eventually you can convert them into clients and making an actual sale. And we'll dive in on each of these, like I said, and then we'll get into delivering and wowing, truly impressing your customers, building that brand and setting you up as the true expert in your industry, and creating raving fans of your business that are happy with you and that want to refer their friends and family. And that's going to make your upsell and cross-sell process so much easier as well, and being able to consistently increase your lifetime customer value of everybody that you work with. And then we'll get into your referrals and reviews. So this is getting people to both send you business and then also getting people to leave reviews, engage with you on social media to build that social awareness, that social proof that what you provide is of value. And so we'll have an episode on each one of these, and make sure to watch.
And so, a couple things I want to bring into this, speaking, again, me not understanding marketing and the whole path for all this, is that I always stop at the very beginning, right? And the getting traffic component. And I've always been so caught up on just bringing customers through the door, getting them to buy something originally or not. And so it's really interesting to see that whole life cycle and how much of it I have truly missed. And now, again, fast forward a couple years where I've been understanding all this, I'm starting to implement each stage. And so it's just a different mindset for me as a business owner to just get over. It's not only about Facebook. It's not only about my website. There's a lot more to it. Once I get them over, what happens from that point? And as you mentioned earlier, touching into those other 90% of people that fall off, well, who cares if they buy from me today or in 2 years?
Yeah,
right.
You're absolutely right.
3 months, 6 months, whenever that path happens, sooner or later, if they jumped in my hopper because they were interested in what I was trying to sell, whether it was insurance or tacos or whatever else, they showed up with interest at some point in time. Mm-hmm. So chances are, if they were interested at one point, that they might be interested another time. Maybe something happened in life that distracted them, that kept them from buying at that particular moment. But they were obviously interested. So they're probably going to be interested again. Are they going to me or are they going to my competitor who offered the same product who stayed in front of them?
Right. You're absolutely right. And so when we're talking about these things and we're going through this information, one thing that I want you to make sure that you're keeping at the top of your mind is your ideal customer, your ideal client. And what you want to think about is what are their pain points? What problems and challenges do they have that you solve for? What are some differentiating factors of how you solve for that compared to your competition? What benefits are they seeking as well? Again, why do they buy? Why do they buy from you as opposed to your competition? And in your insurance business, what makes you different from every other insurance agent out there? Right? What are some differentiating factors?
Right. And then honestly, in my insurance practice, I really focus on, after I get to know people and earn their trust in business, I really kind of skip to the very end of your life cycle, marketing, I can't get it right, of getting referrals and reviews. And I skip everything in between. So how much business have I been leaving on the table all of these years because I have the beginning and the end, and that is it? How foolish.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And another big aspect that a lot of people don't think about is who's not your ideal client or your ideal customer. Who doesn't fit those categories and not targeting them. Now, does that mean that if someone who doesn't fit within your target audience or target ideal client, doesn't fit within that you don't work with them? Absolutely not. Because those people are going to come. But your brand needs to be built around your ideal client. And one thing that we do, and if you click the link in the description here, we are offering a free consultation where we'll go through with you and break down who your ideal client is and talk through the language that makes them move. And I can tell you from experience, because I've walked literally thousands of small businesses through exactly what I'm talking about. And it's going to be one of the more impactful conversations and consultations that you'll ever work with. And if you, like I said, click the link in the description here and fill out the form, request that consultation, and we'll walk you through that one-on-one. And Mario, I know the first time I walked you through it, how impactful was it?
Extremely eye-opening. It was just it was a game changer for me, big time.
And it made you look at things a lot differently, and it made you kind of look at things holistically.
Holistically, for sure.
And understand where some of those holes are and what you've been doing wrong for a while.
All right. So I'm definitely looking forward to jumping in that deep dive.
Yeah. So make sure that you like I said, go to the link below. We'll walk through it with your business. It's free, and there's no obligation to do that.
All right, so I guess we'll sum it up at this point, and then look forward to jumping into future episodes.
Yeah, next episode will be on building traffic and that awareness part of your funnel. So make sure to watch that and stay tuned. It's going to be an exciting one.